Hi, fashion dolls, and we are back. We are back. We are back. I'm super excited for today's special guest. We are back, fashion dolls. It is Transformation Tuesday, March 28th, and welcome to another episode of Style by Stevie. I am feeling rejuvenated, refreshed, and ready to tackle the week. We have only one show today, fashion doll, for this week, and then we will be back in April. I'm super excited for today's special guest. He's been on hit shows such as Fatal Attraction and Lyric. I'm super excited to have him here in the dollhouse. We had this interview set back in January, but we had to change the date so that we could get to the new and improved interview for 2023. All right. I'm super excited. Let's welcome in Rod King, ladies and gentlemen. Let me share this live with him. Make sure you guys head on over and subscribe to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube if you have not. Make sure you guys also go and like the talk show page as well also. So without further ado, let me go ahead and add our incredibly talented special guest, award-winning actor, Rod King, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, hello.
What up? What
Welcome to
up?
the.
Here?
It's such a pleasure. Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you. Welcome to the dollhouse. How are you? And how is your Transformation Tuesday going for you so far?
I mean, today's good. I'm doing all right. I wish I was at home to do this, but my wife and I and my son were going on vacation on Thursday, so I'm out ripping and running trying to get stuff together. So, you know how it is.
Definitely spring vacay, spring break. So we won't keep you long. We're going to get right to the basics. You are an award-winning actor, and you have done shows. One of my favorite is Fatal Attraction. You've done
Mhm.
Infamy, another one of my favorite shows, and you've also done, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, he's done the Black Panther. So we'll get to that throughout your career. But let's start right from the beginning. Let's start way, 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 way back when. Now, you were born in Plainfield, New Jersey. Tell us a little bit about that. How many brothers and how many sisters?
I have two sisters. Born in New Jersey, grew up there till about 11, and then I moved to Atlanta. So I call Atlanta my home because that's where I would say like I went through all of my maturation from a child to an adult. So those are my formative years. So if anybody asks me where I'm from, I'll say ATL. Um, yeah, I don't claim Jersey, nothing against Jersey like that, but Atlanta's my home.
When I think of New Jersey, I think of Whitney Houston because her hometown is New
Yeah.
Jersey. And Atlanta, is so many talents, especially in the 90s. I'm a music lover. So in the era of the 90s, it was so much talent coming up under
Right. Right.
La. If you guys are familiar with LaFace Records, you
Oh
had
yeah.
TLC, you had Outkast, you had Monica, Bobby Brown. It was so many. So I'm proud that you claim to be an AT alien. It's
Oh,
so
most
much
definitely.
talent up there. Yes. So where did you get the passion? Because you started acting at a very young age. At what age did you discover the passion where you said, okay, this is something that I want to do? Did somebody inspire you or influence you?
I think real talk. For me, I feel like it came out the womb. At 5, I told my grandma I want to be an actor. She was like, no. She's like, actor's a liar. So she killed a dream, man. She killed a dream, and then it didn't pop back up until I was about 30. Is when I actually started to pursue it, on a professional level.
Wow. And I'm gonna ask this: why so late? Because I have a theory. It's like never too late to follow your dreams, never too late to go for what you believe in. But why so late?
Honestly, after I kind of let go of the acting thing as a child, I didn't know what I wanted to do, which is funny because now, like, I'm a doctor right now, and I went through like crazy depression, being a doctor, and I'm not a physician. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, but I literally started to become depressed in physical therapy school because I knew it's not what I wanted to do, but I didn't know what I was going to do. And I graduated, got my doctorate, passed my boards, and literally week one of my first job, I was looking for another career. And I went through probably about a year and a half of depression, and it wasn't until I went to a counselor and through counseling, I ended up, everything was like a perfect storm. I ended up taking a career quiz, and entertainment was my number one. Healthcare was 29 on the list. So I was definitely out of my lane. At the same time, I was helping out a friend with some audiovisual stuff, and they needed me to do a little part in a play that they were doing. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And when I did it, this wasn't even for the actual performance. This was just rehearsal. When I did it, I felt something. And when I felt that, I was like, I've never felt like this doing anything in a long time. Like when I was a kid, I used to do, like I made, real talk, the whole premise of Taken, I made that with my little sister when I think I was like 12. Like almost verbatim. And I had a script and everything. I was like, I wonder if they found that in the trash or something. But anyway, yeah, so from there, that fire that got lit, I ended up actually getting an agent without any experience. I went into, it was called the Agency Dallas at the time. I had moved to Dallas, Texas, and I went in for open call for an agency. And when I got there, I looked at everybody around. They had resume, they had headshots. I didn't even know what those were at the time. I just knew I wanted to be an actor. So I went in and I auditioned. They gave me a copy to read. I auditioned, and my first agent, she said to me, she was like, "Come here." She whispered to me. She said, "I want you to walk out of here like I just didn't say I'm gonna sign you." She's like, "I know you don't have any experience, but she's like, there's something in you." She's like, "There's something there, and I want to pursue that." So I got signed with like no type of experience, and from there, I worked in Dallas a little bit, had like I think like 2-3 gigs, and then I was like, well, let me go to LA, and she was like, you know what, go back to Atlanta and build your resume up, and then go to LA. So that was kind of the trajectory of how things went.
Now I'm gonna take a break for a minute and go back to what you just said. You spoke about I had to take a break for my mental health. I was depressed and all of these things, and I'm gonna add
Yeah.
on to that. We talk a lot about mental health on my platform, especially for us as African Americans, as people of color. And I've had psychiatrists on my show during the pandemic, when it first hit, because we were all depressed, we were all inside, and it was just like the
Right.
walls, looking at the walls, driving us insane. Um, my advice and knowledge to everybody out here is that when it comes to us as people of color, as African Americans, we have been taught for years to sweep our mental health and depression and bipolar disorder, where there's so many actors and entertainers who have been open and transparent
Right.
about having depression and going through battling their demons and things. I can give a list from Janet Jackson to Jennifer Lewis to Taraji P. Henson, who's one of my faves.
Right.
That's like my homegirl in my head. I love Taraji. And I love how transparent they are about their depression. Now, on a scale from 1 to 10, because that was at that time in your life, how do you feel today on a scale from 1 to 10?
With one being what?
One being your most okay, or how would you say? How would you feel?
Um, yeah, I would say like it ebbs and flows. I would say for the most part that level of depression is gone. One of the things I would say is getting into this industry can also beat on you.
Yeah.
It can definitely weigh on you with your self-worth. So going through the ebbs and flows of auditioning and things going great, and then all of a sudden things aren't going great. Dealing with that has definitely I've had my ups and downs. But I would say when I had my son, it changed
Mm,
how I looked at things, like 100%. For me, like becoming a successful actor, where I'm not necessarily even A-list, but just a successful actor was everything to me. Like I had to have it. If I didn't have it, I wasn't complete. And when I had my son, I realized, I still want this and I want it bad. And I'm going to keep,
Yeah.
working on my craft to get there. But my life is complete already. And then this is just the addition. So, between my little family, my wife and my son, they really change how I look at myself, my life, and my self-worth, and what I bring to the table as a person. So I definitely would say if 10 was like, yo, you doing great, I ebb and flow between the 7 and the 10.
Now, fatherhood, I've been told, now told this from parents, from their perspective, because I'm an auntie. Um, Fatherhood changes your perspective of life. Being a parent changes your whole perspective and outlook of life and things. And you've been through things that you've never encountered during your younger years. Now, mental health, what I was about to say about for us as people of color, we sweep our problems under the rug. But
Right.
for you as a black man to be transparent and let everything, something is wrong with the question box. Oh no, because I know you guys have questions. Try now and see. Try now and see. Or swipe out and then come back in. IG's kind of trippy today, but we're gonna continue on. But we were talking about mental health. For us as people of color, for years we have been taught to just sweep it. Pray and talk to God about it. It'll be okay. I say
Right.
this: faith without work is done.
It's dead.
So if you are not talking about it, God put therapists here for a reason. And if we are not talking about it, how will people know what's going on?
Right.
Just transparency and being open. Because like you said, getting into the entertainment business, you, especially at a young age, because you started acting at a very young age, starting off at a young age, not knowing what you're getting yourself into, not knowing what direction you're going to go into. It can be stressful for a lot of people. And then you have this peer pressure from the business where you're getting a lot of no's. I've had a lot of doors closed in my face as a talk show hostess, as a content creator. It
Right.
has a lot, it takes a toll on you. And that takes a toll on a person in general because it's just like, okay, you overthink your value, like, am I not good enough? Like, what more do these directors, what more are these producers and directors looking for from me? What more do I need to do? What more do I need to? You start asking all of these questions. And it's just like, no, it's nothing wrong with you. It's maybe just the time. Maybe you take that no as no, not right
Right.
now. Or it could be, no, just need to go strive a little bit harder. And I'm a firm believer and person that believes that whenever you do the work, whenever you do the research, because there are plenty of times when I've had to stop, start all over again. And I've had to start all over again. And each and every day is a starting over process for each and every one of us. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have your roadblocks. But to keep going is what it's all about. Talk about your mental health. Get therapy. There's nothing wrong with talking to someone about it. And it doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means that you're human because you would see a lot of things. Some of our favorite celebrities. I'm a big Beyonce fan. So we would never know on the outside looking in what some of these people that we look at and admire their
Right.
talent, their music, their craft, what they're going through behind the scenes as well too. They're regular people just like us.
Yeah. Dealing with a lot. Dealing
Now
with
we
a
have a
lot.
question for you from Ali Yankee. He wants to know what is the difference between depression and clinical depression?
Um. Well, I would say, first and foremost, I'm not a clinical psychologist, but from my limited knowledge base, I would say that time has a lot to do with, how you're looking at things. So like even in the field of, like, say you get hurt and you have acute and you have chronic, I would put clinical more on the chronic side of, you're depressed, but that depressed just, now it's prolonged and it goes on and on untreated. Once you go to a doctor, that's where it's like, okay, they have clinical depression because they've been dealing with this for a very long time. And usually people who have clinical depression are the ones who will go through, um, medication, getting medication to help with that depression. I don't, I think nowadays, the pharmaceutical companies will definitely promote their medications to just about everybody. But I think for the most part, a lot of people, I think depression is normal. we all get depressed at, different levels. I think that clinical is when it starts to become very chronic. So hopefully that answers the question from my knowledge base. Like I said, I'm not a clinical psychologist, but from my knowledge base, that's what I would say is the difference between the clinical depression versus your acute depression.
Now, you said something that I really, really love, and that is, we take medications, we do all of these things to kind of numb the pain. Jennifer Lewis said this in an interview, that we think that we can just drink it away, that we can just smoke it away. It's just going to go away like that. We do it to numb and cope with pain or whatever it is, or trauma that we're feeling. And for us as people of color, we've experienced trauma for 400 years. If you get my drift, I don't have to go too far, but if you know, you know. We've experienced that trauma for 400 years, and that has stuck with us. So that mentality of, not wanting to have an open mindset, this is now opening the conversation to say, what is wrong with you? And there are days, everybody looks at me and they think, oh, well, she's got it together. She's beautiful. She's this, that. Yes, I get it all the time. Trust me. There are days when I do not want to get up in the morning, and I don't feel like getting up in the morning. There are days when it's just like I'm angry at myself. And that's what I've been dealing with lately, is internalized anger or guilt of things that I've done in my past. And I can't change the past. Alan Yankee I'm thankful for people like that. And K Tooks, who is also an amazing talk show host, the K Tooks Spot. Make sure you guys go and check him out. And so many others, Bubs the God, Scotty, all of them. I'm thankful for all of them, because even Conscious TV and Reckless Life, all of these amazing talk show hosts and platform creators have given me a nudge and a tap on the shoulder and said, you got this. You can't change the past yet. And I've wrote it in lipstick on my mirror, like, even as a morning affirmation, your past does not dictate your future. That is one thing that I am battling with now, is those demons of things that I've done in my past that I'm not too pleased about. But it's made me the woman that you guys see today. And I'm thankful for that. I can't change the past. I can move forward in the present. And it's a lot of people who deal with that past trauma or things that haunt them. We all have done things in our past we're not proud of, but we can't change it. If we have a button where we can just press rewind and go back in time and change it, it will be that simple. But we can't change it. So the past trauma,
learn from it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think like the mistakes that I've made in life need to be a teachable moment. I don't want to go back and change anything. What I want to do is just look at it and learn from it and move forward.
And that's what it's done. It's literally, and once I see it, I had a conversation with my girlfriend today. Shout out to my sis, Felicia. I was talking with her. I said, I'm not the Stevie that I was when I started, when I was age 19, right after high school, 19, 20, I want to say. Now I'm about to be 30. So it's like, once you hit 30, you have a whole new mindset of life. Your experience.
That's the change up.
That's
the change up.
And I'm dreading turning 30, because I'm just like, no, I want to enjoy my 20s. My body was right, my abs was right, I could wear my crop tops and whatnot. But now I'm just like, once you get 30, I've got to worry about cellulite. I got to worry about all of these things going into my womanhood. And I'm just like, oh, God, yeah. So I see it. Once you hit it, it's a whole new different milestone, a whole new outlook on life. Right now, being 29, I'm based on family. Because when I first started off, I was cocky, I was arrogant. And who hasn't in their teenage years? Because you're young and you think you know it all. And our parents always would tell us. Our parents would always tell us, you think you know it, but wait till you get in your 50s or your 30s. When you come an adult and start to time pay bills and stuff, you really learn. You really gonna really wish you had been in your 20s or in your teens ever again.
Right.
So now I see what my mom is telling me. Now I see what other people are saying about becoming an adult and coming into your own. You can't do the same thing you did when you were in your teens.
Right.
I told her to stop being a historian and revisionist. He sure did. He did. Because one thing, I will tap him and we will have conversations, and he will tell me, stop bringing up the past. Girl, you can't change it. You cannot change the past. It can only make you better.
Right.
And I can say as of now, starting over, it's like riding a bike all over again, learning how to ride a bicycle. It's like a new beginning. It's like a new being reborn again, or what I like to call the rebirthing process.
Right.
Coming into a new version of yourself. You're shelling out of the version of your old self and going into a whole new person. And when I have the conversation with my girlfriend today on the phone, my sis, a girl, she said, "You're not the same person you were." Because back then in my teens, I'd be ready to cuss somebody out, yes, and I still do to this day kind of have a potty mouth, but it's toned down a little bit. Because back then I would be ready to fight. And somebody even, because I was picked on a lot in high school.
Right.
So that comes with the territory of me being very defensive and guarded. Now I can slowly, the walls have been let down. And it's just like I'm ready and open to receive people, new faces, what the universe has to offer in
Right.
store. Back then I would be like, kind of standoffish and kind of still reserved to this day. And it's okay to have your reservations. It's okay to sit back and say, this doesn't feel right. I'm not going to do it. And I said this when I did my interview last week. I said, if it doesn't feel right and your gut is telling you, your gut intuition is leading you and telling you something doesn't feel right, don't do it. Don't do it. So speaking of don't doing it, taking the career move. Now you said you are an AT alien. Now moving, what was your parents' reaction? Because you said your grandmother was just like, and even my mom was like that, sort of guarded, saying, all right, don't get it. You're going to have a backup plan. Because all of our parents, when we say we want to be an actor, we want to be a singer, we want to be, a producer or a director or something in the entertainment field, they just like, what's the catch? Yeah, right. That's not a job. Go get a job. Become a doctor. They want you to do something because they don't think it's legit. My mom was the same way, and she was just like, okay, don't get too big in this business. This is something that you're going to do. You're going to have a backup plan. So that's why I went to beauty school. I went and I got my cosmetology license, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist. So all of the hairstyles that you guys are seeing, bombshell, the secret is out. I don't have a hairstylist. I do my own hair. So all of the hairstyles that you guys have seen throughout the past few years, this woman is responsible for. From the curls, whether it's the green or the black and pink, I'm responsible for doing that. I do my own hair. So you have to have a backup plan for every single thing that you do. And that's what our parents are saying. But when they start seeing you on television, oh, that's my baby. Oh, I'm so proud. That's my baby. Look at my baby right there. What was your parents' reactions to you saying, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm going to have to take the big move. And sometimes parents, their concern is like, okay, how much are we looking at here? What's the catch? Why does my baby have to go all the way? What was your parents' reaction to you saying, okay, this is something that I really, really want to do and taking the big move? Because it can be scary.
Yeah, honestly, my mother has been behind it 100%. My dad is someone who, both my parents are from the Caribbean. Both my parents are from the island of Barbados. So when you have immigrant parents who have come to the U.S., there's a certain mindset of what's expected of you. But so with my dad, it wasn't so much that he wasn't supportive. He didn't understand. To this day, he doesn't understand. He's like, why did you spend all that time going to physical therapy school to now try to leave it and pursue acting? I was like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So for him, it's kind of like, I don't get it, but I'm not gonna beat you over the head with I don't agree with it. Every now and then he'll say something, but he kind of chills out. My mom has been 100%. She's watched me go through it. She's watched me go through the depression, and she's watched me basically blossom into the actor that I am today. And she's watched me just on the side supporting me. And then my sisters are the same way. I always say to myself, like, when I have an award ceremony and I get up in front of everybody, I can't be like, I thank the haters, because I was like, nah, everybody's been real supportive. So, I have a village around me that really takes care of me, and is rooting for me. Like, sometimes, I think, what was it, a couple days ago, I think like 2, 3 days ago, I had an audition, and I called my sister up. I just wanted her to watch the audition so that she's very blunt. So, I sent it to her, and I called her, and she was like, please don't ask me to read with you for this audition. I was like, no, I already did it. I just want you to, give your input. What are your feelings? And that's the type of support that I have. My wife the same way. I try not to use my family as readers because, I think I burned them out over the years of, yeah, I need a reader. I need a reader. Somebody, can you help me with this? It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I need somebody to help me with this audition. So, but they're very, very supportive. I have no complaints in the area.
And Ala Yankee says Barbados is in the house. We might be cousins. Listen, when I think of
Hey,
Barbados, I think of one person. It is Rihanna.
mm-hmm. Yeah, Rihanna.
It is
Actually,
Rihanna.
my little sister, she went back to Barbados as a teenager, so she was with like hanging out with Rihanna and all that stuff. Um, so I found it interesting. I was like, I didn't know who she was until she came out or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it did,
And wow. And it just goes to show you, you never know who you run in contact with. It's a
most
small world.
deaf.
But I'm going to go back to your father. You said your father kind of gives you everything. But I'm pretty sure when he's seeing you in Black Panther and when he starts seeing the checks and stuff coming in, they come around like, oh, that's my son. That's my son. Look at my son right there. So they come around. At first, they don't understand it, our parents. But then they start to get an understanding when they see all of the attention, all of the buzz that is coming along with this business, which has brought so much to you. So before we get to the prolific roles that you've done in your
Mm-hmm.
career, let's talk about the doctorate. You received your doctorate degree in physical therapy. Now,
Right.
how does that feel? I know this is a big achievement that you've worked so hard to accomplish, and your parents must be very, 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 very proud. How does it feel to now be working and doing something that you're passionate about?
I mean, if you want to know the truth, I'm very, I'm appreciative of having it. It wasn't something I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to be a physical therapist. I went into the profession for the wrong reasons, but it's something that has, allowed me to not be the struggling actor. So I'm very appreciative of that. It's also has been the main reason for the years of depression because when you're doing something that you don't want to do, regardless of how good you are at it's not fulfilling, and the amount of money didn't matter. And I went through a lot of years where I wasn't making hardly any money, even though I was a doctor of physical therapy, because I refused to go to work. So how do I feel about it? I appreciate it. Is physical therapy school hard? Yeah, it's challenging. But it was something that, once I got into it, I was just like, I'm here. I had a professor come up to me I think my first semester, and he said, you sure you want to do this? I was like, yeah, what are you talking about? And he was like, you don't pay attention in class. He's like, your grades are fine, so I don't know how you're doing it. But he's like, you ain't paying attention. You're looking out the window, your head is down. And he saw right through me. And I had a couple of classmates, like we had projects that we had to do, and it was like create this exercise program for a patient, and everybody just like they printed out their exercise program. My group, I was like, yo, let's make a workout video. Like I got a workout video I put out every year just to make my two of my classmates embarrassed, that we dressed up in like 80s attire. We made like one of those old school Richard Simmons type things. And at that point in time, I still had the hair, so I had dreadlocks and ponytails and everything. And it was just like, they said, my classmate was like, yo, why are you in physical therapy school? I was like, I don't even know, man. I don't know. I'm just, at that time I was still lost. So to answer your question, I appreciate becoming a doctor of physical therapy. I don't tell people, like, if I meet people, usually I'm like, yeah, I'm a physical therapist, and then later on, I'd be like, so what do you have, your bachelor's or your master's? I was like, nah, I got my doctorate, but it's not something I lead with for the most part. Yeah, I guess hopefully that answers that question.
Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes here because
Right,
I got introduced to you as Young Greatness on Infamy, which was hosted by Grammy Award winning singer and songwriter Monica.
right.
The Boy's Mind is a cult classic. We all grew up with it. What was it like getting the call back for this character of Young Greatness?
Um, that was a very interesting situation. I didn't think I was gonna get it. I kind of just like left it alone after the audition, and I got the call, and I don't know. It was like I had to do my research. Like, I knew nothing about Young Greatness, and then after doing the research and finding out who he was and how he was on his way up, it's very humbling. It's humbling to portray someone who has actually been living, who lived a real life. This isn't somebody out of someone's imagination that they've written down on the script. This is someone who actually lost their life, and they had a mom, they had a dad, they had brothers and sisters, and to try to put yourself in that headspace, um, you know, I think that it's an honor to portray people, real people. It's an honor for me. It's an honor to be acting, period. But when you take it to that level, um, yeah, it's a huge honor.
You've done Martell on Fatal Attraction, and here's the big one right here. For those of you who do not know, you've also were in Black Panther, the first one, and this was around the time when Chadwick, God rest his soul, was alive and living. You were one of the citizens in Wakanda, so tell
Right.
us what was that experience like, just to be in the overall project, and did you have any idea that this project, Black Panther, would be such a phenomenon? Just, I mean, you had Angela Bassett, you had Lupita. It was an all-black ensemble cast of top-notch black actors and actresses.
Right.
Now, what was it like running through your mind getting casted to be in this project?
Um, I would say I definitely knew that it was going to be big just from the casting process for the extras, the citizens of Wakanda. Even that was like very grandiose. Like, when we all came to, they were kind of like, it was hundreds of people inside of a warehouse, and this was just a process to get cast. And they
Wow.
had an African drum band come in and play for us first. So it was unlike anything I've ever done when it comes to trying to be cast in anything. Being on set was interesting because you're portraying being in Africa, but it was about 27 degrees in Atlanta at the time. So you're in a dashiki, short sleeve, shorts on.
So,
They wanted that futuristic look, so everything was light when it comes to the clothing. So doing that for 14 hours a day was definitely one of the toughest things I've done. Physically, mentally, not as much because I didn't have any speaking parts, but I got the opportunity to speak with Chadwick, while we were on our downtime, and I remember telling him, I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna be in the next Black Panther with you," and he looked at me, and he smiled, and he was like, "I'll see you there," and one of my regrets is, I guess, because of the way that Wakanda Forever was shot.
yeah.
A lot of it was stunt work. So a lot of stunt artists were a part of it, and the general public, like for Black Panther, the original, they didn't have that same process because they needed a lot of people who could do stunts in water and so forth. So unfortunately, I didn't get to be a part of the second one, and unfortunately, Chadwick was not, able to be in the second one as well. Um, but I'll keep it in my heart always that I had this small interaction with someone who's been such an impactful person in my own acting career. Um, yeah, it was a beautiful experience, and I didn't get to see him. I had the opportunity to work as a stand-in for Don Cheadle for Avengers Endgame and Captain Marvel, and also stand-in for Chadwick for Endgame as well. And just being able to step into the shoes of the Black Panther at the time, even if it was just as a stand-in position, was that was also humbling. Because it's I think like a lot of people, when you say, they were only an extra in that movie. I was like, there are millions of people in this world, and out of those millions of people, there was a handful that were able to be a part of something of this magnitude. And I could say, I was part of something of this magnitude. Whether or not you saw me on camera or not, I was a part. And it's something that I will treasure forever.
And that is one of the greatest memories of being able to have a conversation with him, because that was going to be my next question. Has he given you any advice and pointers to go forth in your career before he passed on? And it was so unfortunate. I don't think we'll ever forget the day that he passed and I got the news, because I was scrolling down Instagram, checking my messages and things after I just got through doing an interview, and this was on a Saturday, I think, that he passed. And I seen the announcement. I'm just like, nah, this can't be true. Because sometimes, news publications will put stuff out there, and it's just like, this is not real.
Right.
But then other news publications starting to post it, and I said, man, yeah, I, I, I it took me by surprise.
Yeah.
It took us all by surprise. But I don't think we'll ever be able to forget him and his legacy and the impact that he's had on
I remember that day. I was actually, I had moved out to California, and I was driving back from LA to San Diego, and I got the news. It came on the radio. I think I was listening to the radio. It came on the radio, and I pulled over, and I said, I've never cried for anyone that I really didn't know, and I cried probably on the side of the road for I don't know how long. It was a good minute. Like, him passing was something that hurt me as though he was family, and I'll never forget that moment that I found out. I'll never forget the moment that he smiled at me and said, "I'll see you there," and I was like, I don't know in what realm that will happen, but I believe like he's always going to be with me in some way.
Yeah. And even at the end of Wakanda, I know there wasn't a dry Wakanda Forever. There wasn't a dry eye in the theater, because of how beautiful and touching the tribute to him was at the end of the film. And the song Rihanna made with the film, I even teared up listening to it. Like, it made me think of him. So his legacy is still here forever. All right, Fashion Dolls. So we are going to do some games with Rye, and we're going to let him go. We can't keep him, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So
games.
Yes, we're going to have some fun here. We always do it in the dollhouse. So the first one is called the Rapid Five. And Rye has to tell us 5 things that he can't live without. It can be your favorite drink, your favorite football team, your family, whatever runs through mind when it comes to your top 5 favorite things. And then the next one is going to be called His Thoughts. So I'm going to call off some of his famous Black Panther co-stars, and he has to give me one word to describe each one. All right? So we're going to start off with the Rapid Five. What are 5 things that Rye can't live without?
My wife and my son. I guess that's 2. I'm gonna say family as 3. Because if I just name family, that'd be like everybody. That'd be all 5. Pizza. I gotta have pizza in my life. Music.
Right.
And
that's 5.
And,
that's 5.
Was that 5?
Yep. Go ahead. If you got
I was
one
just
more,
gonna
go
say,
ahead.
creating, whatever in whatever aspect that is, whether it's writing or music or acting.
The creativity process. And for us as creators, for me being a hostess, I'm always envisioning. Um, People will tease me and say, "You're always reading K2s," and they'll always tease me like, "You're always in a book. You're a bookworm." Yeah, I'm always reading and making sure that I stay on top of everything, especially now in taking the role as this journalist, as this talk show hostess. You have to make sure that you're on it, do your research for every interview. I surprised one of my guests. He didn't even know that I knew certain things about him. Shout out to Dakari Jones. It was when I did my interview with him. And he just kind of looked at me like he was scared, like, you some sort of FBI agent or something. Like, how did you know this about me? I'm like, I'm a talk show host, baby. I'm supposed to know.
Right.
When you're doing an interview or whatever it is that you're going for, even preparing for a role as an actor, you have to be on it. And
Yeah.
that's what these producers, directors are looking for, is that you're on time and punctual and that you know your parts. Because when I did a film, because I did a horror film
Mm-hmm.
back in 2021, and what was so funny, the day of we shot the film, and I wish this could have been a behind the scenes blooper outtake in the film at the end of it, was everybody was going over each other's parts. So they got the parts mixed up. I'm reading the next person's part, they're reading my part.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny, but me, I stayed on it. I remember my part like the back of my hand, and it just flowed awesomely. But that part was funny where everybody was speaking over each other's roles. I wish you guys could see it. It was hilarious. But yes, going into this, you got to be prepared. All right, so we're going to do, it is time for, ladies and gentlemen, his thoughts. So I'm going to call out some Arise Black Panther co-stars, and you have to give me one word to describe each one, okay? So the first one I'm going to start off with is Michael B. Jordan.
Revolutionary.
Mm. Next up, we have the beautiful, the talented, and I feel like she should have won an Oscar. We all feel this. This is our auntie. She is like my home girl in my head. Angela Bassett.
Timeless.
Yes. Next up, we have Denai Guerrera, and I love watching her on The Walking Dead.
Powerful.
Mm. Daniel Kaluuya.
Versatile.
Letitia Wright.
Tiny.
All right. Lupita Nyong'o.
Beautiful.
Yes. All right. And these the last two are, we're going to shake it up a bit. Last but certainly not least, you had a conversation with him, Chadwick Boseman.
Ah. Can I get two? Can I get two words? Regal
Yes.
and humble.
Last but certainly not least, Rocky.
Rod King. Ooh, that's a hard one. One word to describe myself. Tenacious.
And that balance, you're able to balance it out. One thing I would say about you is that you're able to balance it out, because I've seen your posts here on Instagram where you're in father mode, you're in husband mode. And being in this business, you have to be able to balance it out.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know this all too well. In the middle of interviews, you guys would hear knocks on the door. That would be my mom. Being able to balance out family life and things, I know it all too well from personal experience. Two hands way up to you for that, because I have to do it as well too. And for us as being in this business as entertainers, you have to balance out family life
Right.
away from work. Being, on set and filming or hosting a platform takes a lot. So I would have to say balance.
Right.
All right, Fashion Dolls. that is his thoughts. Now, you guys know it is International Women's History Month. Before we close out this interview, while you guys are getting your questions ready for Rye and we conclude, I'm going to give you guys the Women's History Month figure of the day. And today's woman that we're honoring is one of my favorite female vocalists of all time. And she is such a style icon. She has shaped and molded the industry, and not only that, but the fashion world. Jody Watley, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you guys remember her from Shalimar? All right. So here's a few facts about our girl, Jody. She was featured in the historic Black issue of one of the most prominent fashion magazines in the world, and that is Vogue Italia in 2008. In December 2016, Billboard marked her as the most 21st most successful dance artist of all time. In 2017, Black Music Honors TV special recognized her as crossover music icon honoree. Now, in March of 2021, she was named the first ambassador of the National Museum of African American Music. How prolific is that? In 2022, she received an honorary doctorate in business and the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award by our president, Joe Biden. And she also has Jody Watley Day in Georgia, state capital. She was inducted into the Women's Songwriters Hall of Fame alongside Missy Elliott. So how prolific is she? Today we salute Jody Watley on Women's History. All right, Fashion Dolls. So all throughout the month of March, we're going to be celebrating amazing women and our achievements to the world and so much. All right. So while you guys are typing questions, I'm going to give you guys also the thought of the day, which comes from Entusaki Shange, who is the poet and novelist for colored girls who have considered, when the rainbow is enough. And she has a quote that goes like this: where there is a woman, there is magic. Women, we have conquered, we have overcome through so much. I've overcome colorism. I've overcome being told no, misogynoir. Since me being a Black woman, I'm going to face something called misogynoir, which is discrimination against Black women. To give you an insight, it's terminology that has been coined by Moya Bailey. When a Black woman experiences misogynoirs, like her feelings are being discarded, tossed to the side, and I've experienced so much of that being in this business. But now I've overcome it, and I'm still to this day I'm battling colorism, misogyny, being told no, having doors closed in my face. I've built my own platform and landmark, and that is Style by Stevie. Because the industry doesn't see, they refuse to give opportunities to people of color that look like myself or Rye. And with Style by Stevie, I wanted to open the door for other actors and directors and writers of color and give them a platform for people who look like us, this screen right here that you guys see today. Because in this business in Hollywood, you have actors who are still fighting through racism, who are still fighting to get recognition. And I would never, what made me believe and keep believing that I can do anything if I put my mind to it is when I seen Cheryl Lee Ralph as the second Black woman to win an Emmy Award. That's when I seen it. The first time I heard it was when it was Jackie Harry who received an Emmy Award for 227, Best Sick. So that just showed me that if Shirley Ralph, our dream girl, we grew up watching her, can do it, I can do it as well too. And just through seeing the women like the Shirley Ralphs, the Angela Bassett's, gives me strength and courage. And if I keep doing Style by Stevie and empowering people of color that look like me, giving us a platform, because I hear it so often, even from our little girls, our little boys that are watching. Rye has a son. So I'm pretty sure his son is going to grow up and ask the question, Dad, why doesn't that person look like me? You have a platform where you see representation of people of color that view Style by Stevie. And I want everyone to be included. LGBT, everyone is included here on my platform. So, me being a Black woman building this platform, I'm thankful to have it because everyone can see something that represents them. And it's not just in one lane. It showcases us in a positive light and empowers people to know that they can do something at home. Let me get off my soapbox. I'm sounding like I'm accepting an Oscar up here. But it's the truth. Representation is key. Diversity is what we're pushing for in this business. And even with award shows like the Oscars, we know the issue. We want to see more representation of Black actors, Black film directors, Black producers, Black writers in the writers' room who look like us. And I'm thankful for the likes of Spike Lee, Issa Rae, Ryan Coogler, Black Panther, and so many others who are giving Black actors a platform to say, okay, now finally we can see someone who looks like us on television.
Right.
So I don't see any questions. I'm going to let Rye close it out. What are some final thoughts for this powerful conversation that we've had? I wouldn't even really consider this an interview, but more so like a conversation.
Right.
What are some thoughts that you would give to young people who are looking to get into this business? Because you started off very young getting into acting and jump starting your career right off into not knowing what direction. What advice would you give to young people that want to get into acting?
I always tell anybody that wants to get into acting, you have to know your why. You have to know why you want to do it, because if you want to do it for any other reason than the fact that you love the craft, you're not out of 10 times you're not gonna last, because what people don't understand is this profession it's hard. It's extremely hard to it takes you away from a lot of things. And if you don't love it, you're not going to last in it. So before you jump into it, make sure you know your why, and make sure that why is that you actually have a passion for this thing. The other thing I would say is there are no overnight successes. So get out of the mindset of instant gratification when it comes to your acting career. Some people put in 5 years before they blow up. Some put in 15 to 20 before things really start to pop off. So make sure that you're in it, and the mindset is the long game. And things change. I'll say this, and I just so I'm not like getting too far into it, but prior to the pandemic, I had a show coming out. Like I had a show coming out, and I was living in California, and now I'm in Texas, and the show got canceled before it even got out. So things change, and you have to be able to understand that it's the long game. I think those would be the things. Know your why, and then just make sure that you know that there are no overnight successes in this business, and if there are, it's super rare.
Absolutely. And I was watching, you guys have been watching SWV and the skate reality show that's on Bravo. Coco, who's the lead singer of SWV, had a conversation with her son, Jay Michael. Make sure you guys head on over and subscribe to his channel. She was asking him, do you want to go into dentistry? Because he says he wants to do music. He wants to sing full time. And the thing about it is, going into this business, you could be hot now, but 30 years later, it's just like, what happened? So you have to have a backup plan. Go into it with a backup plan. That's why I told my story, of our parents, and I can relate to it as well, to our parents, saying, okay, yeah, you want to act, you want to sing, but what's going to be your backup plan? What you going to do? And I found a way to make what I love and what I personally do, which is hair, which is makeup, which is fashion, to do it right here on my show. And you guys see it full time because I give you different looks every week. And I use the gift that God has given me. It's not going nowhere. I will still have something to fall back on. I will always be able to do hair, always be able to do makeup, always be able to do nails, all of these things that I love to do. The gift that God has given me that I went to beauty school for, it will always be there. And Style by Stevie will always be there. So I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for our guest today, Rocky. Thank you for coming and chilling with me in the dollhouse and giving us just a few minutes of your time. It was amazing and long overdue because we had something set up, but something happened. But it all worked out on God's timing. And this has been an amazing conversation, and I hope you guys took something from this. Let everyone know where they can follow you at and check out your projects.
Uh, cool. You know, my social media, what is it's on there somewhere. It's like officially Ryan King. There's some underscores in there. I don't know it by heart. I apologize. I'm 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 slowly struggling to get into this using my social media stuff. But Ryan King, there's only one of those out there when it comes to acting. So I think it's officially underscore Rye underscore King. And, you know, my Facebook is just Rye King. I think those are only two. I don't have TikTok yet, or what else is there? Twitter. Yes, I don't have those yet. You can find me here on Instagram. Sorry, I
All
wish
right.
I had something better for you.
And we will have that tag for you guys. Make sure you guys check out Infamy. Also check out Fatal Attraction on TV1. And also check out Black Panther. There's the first one out, Black Panther, and you have Wakanda Forever, Black Panther. So you guys make sure you guys go and check that out. It's in theaters right now. And I'm pretty sure they're going to bring it to Blu-ray and DVD out right now. So you guys go pick it up and check it out. And you will see Riot in the film. We won't be back until April, ladies and gentlemen. This diva is getting a break. All right? Your girl needs a break. So we are going to be back in April with all new episodes of Style by Stevie. In the meantime, I need you guys to head on over to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube and subscribe, where you can check out some of last week's interviews. You can catch up on everything. And also check out the Style by Stevie Facebook page. There's fashion, beauty, and so much more in there that you guys love. And I thank you guys so much for just supporting the platform. It is growing. This will be, I'm assuming, our 418th interview this week. I'm losing count. I don't know. We've done so many. So thank you guys for tuning in to an all new episode of Style by Stevie today. Make sure you guys head on over and subscribe. And also, I want to wish my girl Tina Marie, subscribe to her channel, True Meaning of Radiance. Let's wish her a very happy birthday, y'all. Go and subscribe to my girl and check out and stream her EP, which is out right now on all music platforms. I love you, and you guys, please be safe, and we will see you back in April with all new episodes of Style by Steve. Take care, everyone.
All right, y'all. Be easy. Peace.
You too.